paper on top. So I want a little amount as flour as possible. So just go like this. It's nice and soft. And now it's chilled. This is just how big your tart will be. This recipe will give you about 5 tart inside the shell. And yeah, I'm not using any flour. You can. It'll be so much easier. But this is just another way that maybe you haven't seen before. So you have the tart ring, your tart dough, and a little parchment paper. Then we're just going to fit our dough in. It is going to get, as it becomes a little more warm, it's going to be easier to work with. And remember, your hands are warm also, so you're just going to go slowly. You let the dough get soft, and then we're going to put it right in. And you're going to have this. And you're also going to check the bottom, so it's not sealed. And then we're going to take a giant knife, cut off the edges. You're going to save the scraps for later use for anything. And then I like to go around a little bit. I like the rough look. I know some pastry chefs will use a box grater or a zester to zest off any imperfections on top. I like imperfections. I think imperfections are perfect to me. So you're going to let this chill for about another hour. And then you're going to blind bake it at 375 because we're in a home with a conventional oven, or 350. And through a little magic, you're going to get beautifully blind baked golden brown tart shells. So this ganache recipe is pretty simple. It's just heavy cream, ceremonial grade matcha, and white chocolate. Fortunate enough, one of my buddies, Alex Espiritu, thank you, man, for the Opalese white chocolate from Valrhona. The best ever. We have our white chocolate, and we have our cream with ceremonial grade matcha. This one is ceremonial grade B. It's organic, and it's in the middle of the range price-wise. If you use super ceremonial grade that you actually don't want to cook with because there's no bitterness, it's so sweet, it's super expensive. If you use culinary grade, it's horrible. The color's bad. It's super bitter. So you want to find something in the middle that fits not just your whatever you want to spend, but it's also just good quality for your money. So remember, it's my philosophy on ingredients is, your food's going to taste only as good as what you invest in the ingredients. So use the best for it to taste the best. So I'm going to pour about a third in. Just moving it around. Let it melt slowly. And we're going to emulsify everything now. And then that's it. This recipe will do about 5 tart shells and enough filling for 5 tarts. So this is the tart. This tart shell. Now you're going to chill for at least 4 hours, even up to overnight, and then you're going to come out with this. Here we have the tart. This is sat in the refrigerator about 4 hours. And I want you to show you the inside. So, as this becomes a little more room temperature, it's going to be even softer. Let me show you how soft this is. That's the smear factor right there. All right? See, now I have a ganache that's perfect. As soon as it comes out of the refrigerator, into your mouth, it's going to melt in your mouth and not in your hands.
Did it with a dark chocolate ganache. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to make a brittle really quickly. So the brittle is just going to go in here. On LinkedIn, I've posted the recipe on, and otherwise it's in a recent post. The brittle is going to be butter, sugar, and water. I'm going to bring that to a boil. Well, we're going to caramelize this really quickly. while that's going on, I'm actually going to make the matcha, the mochi, excuse me, not the matcha. We had enough matcha. So I'm going to make the mochi, and the mochi is really easy. Mochi is just mochiko rice flour, which is right here, mochiko, right? Along with sugar and water. And I believe the recipe that I have here is, it's a really small batch. It was 30 grams of mochiko, 60 grams of sugar, 60 grams of water. I'm going to mix that together, and then I'm going to microwave it. So really, the way that it's going to cook is just by steam and time. So just microwave this in the bowl for about 1.5 minutes. Then we're gonna mix it to make sure it's properly coming together. But I already did that in advance, right? So here's my mochi. It was really tough. Now my brittle, which is just our butter, sugar, and water caramelizing. So this is my mochi, right? And we're just going to cut it, right? So it cuts really easily. Just cuts straight, as you can see right here. Right? You get some straight lines. But
those look good. Those look good.
Keep going with the starch, right? As needed. And then just dice it up, right? So I am obviously rushing to do this right now to show you, but here I have some quick diced. However, what you're going to do is once you've cut it, I'm going to just package this for later. Once you've cut it, you want to toss it in some starch, right? Because otherwise it's just going to be, otherwise it would just stick together too much, right? So it's tossed in starch. So that's for the first one, right? And then this we can put directly on our tart, right? Because who doesn't like a little bit of mochi, right? Let's just say, we just put it on one side, right? A couple of pieces on one side. Just like that. It's so good because you can flavor it with some more matcha, or you can flavor it with, black sesame, pretty much anything you really enjoy with Asian flair, right? We look down at our brittle. We're getting there, right? It's going to start caramelizing pretty soon.
You know what I got myself into, but it's just like any other challenge in your life. You buckle down and make it happen. So what is this primarily about? Is 56 desserts. These are more like restaurant desserts that are Asian accented. So you have a balance of salty, sweet, sour, and bitter to balance your palate. That's the whole theme of the book. I don't like when you have a dessert that you finish and you feel like you're in a sugar coma and you want to pass out. I want to make desserts that you have and then you're ready to get a bottle of champagne. So that's what this is based on. And what we did was have some special by step towards the back, so you can see exactly how it's done. And I also have stories to each, because I think every dish has a story. Especially every dessert conveys an emotion or an idea. It's important to tell your story through your food. It was a limited print edition, and they're almost gone, which is absolutely insane to me. So we actually sent it into the James. I'm like, there's no way this is going to even be looked at, and fortunately, it was. Now we're working on a second cookbook called Baking with Liquor, and we're wondering how did we do the first one. So it's crazy. Of course, we're prepared more. Very exciting, and I think every chef should take an opportunity. This is a great opportunity now to work on your own cookbook, because there's different avenues to publish now with print on demand or just ebook. There's a lot of platforms where you can really display your hard work over the years.
It's got to cool off, but pretty much it's going to be really flat, right, when you put it on the tray, and then you can just crack off little pieces.
So why would you have to use a silk pack if you were at home?
Yeah, well, that's the problem. You could use parchment paper and just like lightly spray it and then just drop it on there, but it's most likely it's going to stick on there. So you could use maybe like a Pyrex, like a clear pan, or you could use like a metal hotel pan.
Definitely.
But it's got to be sprayed for sure. Quarantine, I just want to invite a lot of local chefs and people that I've worked with, and people who are working in pastry shops right now, and they can use the support, they can use a little bit of recognition, and just awareness about what's going on in our chef community.
Awesome. Thanks,
Take
man.
care, guys. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you very much.